So, Joshua, thank you for coming back to Between the Chalk Lines. All baseball talk all the time. This is obviously a little bit more of a serious topic than I normally cover. I was actually listening to our original interview that we had back in December. Um, Back then, you mentioned that you weren't um, ready to, or at least you wanted to try and work something out with Perfect Game and do it out of court, and you were still looking for a lawyer. And you mentioned to me recently that you've found yourself a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be prepping what I hope is a positive negotiation with Perfect Game at some point. But it's nice to be represented finally. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
just working on trying to get my affairs in order with my stuff, and I know with respect to that, it'll probably lead to other people having some issues too, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward once everything's potentially, filed. If nothing comes of my hopefully fruitful discussions, um, and once it's filed, I'll be able to talk about whatever I want. I mean, it's really not a ploy here. All this stuff happened, and I'm just trying to rectify it. They don't seem to be paying attention to me. So, they can
Mhm.
pay attention to me before I do anything or after. I don't care, but they're going to pay attention to me, and then I'm just going to get what I'm owed and then be done. And then whatever happens to them, God bless them. I don't care. I just want mine, and then I want to be done with it. I don't want them to hurt people existentially. That's it.
Yeah, no, I like I said when I listened back to that interview, you said that you were not trying to blackmail anyone. You're not trying to do
No, I'm
anything.
still not. And
You're still
it's
not.
it's funny. It's funny how people conflate holding people accountable for their actions that they actually did that are provable. Like these are things that people did in their lives. And they're basically mad at me, calling me a bitch for calling them out on their behavior when the issue is this is what they did. These people do all these things. If they didn't
Yeah,
do these things, then I wouldn't be here.
yeah,
That's
no,
it. Everyone's got to be accountable for what they do. And if they'd like to point out something that I did, God bless them. I'd love to see it.
of course, and that'll probably be something that's if it ever goes to court, it'll happen in discovery, which
I cannot put this clear in bright lights and quotations. I welcome the day that I end up in a fucking deposition against these fucking people. I cannot wait if they sue me or I sue them and it proceeds that I end up in a fucking deposition. It would be the greatest day of my whole motherfucking life if I ended up under oath in a deposition against these fucking people. I would love it.
yeah, and you said that what they did was they, in plain terms, they scammed you. They stole your idea because what you thought was they were going to possibly work with you and help you create a company under the Perfect Game umbrella.
Yeah,
And it,
it all originally. I don't mind diving into it a little bit now. I know I was a little bit more aloof back in December because I was more I was less farther removed from it. I was closer in time, but like
I
realistically,
understand.
realistically, it was a good idea. It is still a good idea if executed correctly. It's just that they intend on taking everything that I had done, and now they're going to go do a lot of it without me. And it's like that's fine. Go pay me for what I did, though. And they haven't done
Yeah,
that. And the unfortunate part of it is, without any of my experience overseeing any of those projects that I had started, it's now a situation like J. Robert Oppenheimer, where he built a bomb and then he didn't have any say on what happened with that bomb, right? Like I made a thing for these people, and now they're going to go take it and do whatever they want with it. I had a blind spot that never occurred to me because I was being very short-sighted, and I actually in business for a moment took their word and good faith that they liked me and wanted to work with me. Maybe
yeah,
I'm done
yeah.
with that, but they liked my idea and they didn't like me, and that's fine. But they got to pay for my stuff that they're using.
Yeah, no, totally. Maybe we're not quite on the Oppenheimer scale, but I definitely understand where you're going with that
Well,
assessment.
it's
You
one of
know,
those
it's
situations. It's one of those
definitely.
situations where you go into it with very good intentions, with a
Mhm.
very good idea, and how stuff is going to be executed exactly. Like you don't go into it hoping. You have a plan and you go A, B, C, D, E. But it's very difficult for me to account for the literal owners of the company being disingenuous to me. Like you buy in day one, you hope what they say is true, and then you find out that maybe they don't have your best interest at heart. It's like, oh shit, now they have my stuff. Now what? And they've gotten away with it for so long. They've never met anyone like me. I welcome this.
No, yeah, and I have to say this. Obviously, this is not our first or second, not even our second interview. I've interviewed you before for another
Yeah,
website, and I've known since day one that you are not afraid to say what is on your mind and in your heart to anybody, anywhere,
yeah.
at any
I mean,
time.
yeah,
So,
you were the recipient on it after my surgery. Sorry about that. I was on drugs. That
you
was
know,
bad. But like,
we
but
don't
in
have to
real
talk
life,
about that here. It's fine. It's fine,
I
Josh.
think
You're
it's
good.
hilarious though for context. But in all
Context.
seriousness, well, 44 surgeries. After surgery, I should probably not be on the phone talking to people. But in reality, I would almost say a little bit self-righteous because right's right, wrong's wrong, and I know that these people are doing things that are negative for these children. It's not an opinion. It is like unobjectively bad for these kids in an NIL world to be
Yeah.
creating memorabilia without paying these kids is objectively terrible.
Mhm.
And I'm I'm annoyed that they've taken what I partially created and are bastardizing it into that because that's not what I was doing, but they certainly have the tools to go do this now.
Yeah, and just to circle back for listeners and anybody coming back to this, not understanding what we're talking about, Joshua was not working for you, never were employed for Perfect Game, but did help Jeff McDowell at a event in
I
Arizona.
don't actually want to correct that. I've been paid
Okay,
by Perfect Game on payroll, so according to them,
okay,
I have worked for them and I haven't worked for them.
okay. So we're gonna correct what happened and what you said, and I said myself also, not just you. In the first interview that we had, you said that you were never an employee for Perfect Game, but now you are saying that you are.
No, I worked for the owners, and I know that I have a payroll check for Perfect Game that they reimbursed me from, and I've also been paid directly by the owners. It has never been made quite clear to me who I was working for. They'd have to let me know that. If they say
Okay.
I didn't work there, if they say I didn't work there, I'd love to know why my name is on the back of every single baseball card that was made for them,
I
and it
was,
says Joshua Kusnick, official Perfect Game representative. I'd
uh,
love to know how those cards were created and paid for by Perfect Game if I didn't work there. I'm curious myself.
no, yeah, I was just going to say we actually brought that up in the first interview. You do have your name, or they have your name on the back of every single card that they ever printed or had you
They do.
print, and you are not in any way or shape or form a representative of Perfect Game. Uh,
I don't know what I am. They've got. I'd love to figure that out so I can get paid for it. It certainly wasn't donated to them. I assure you.
yeah, and you're saying, like you said, now you were uncomfortable with the financial decisions that PVG made in respect
I'm
to the
really
minors
uncomfortable with a lot
and
of
your.
that. That's not my company though, so I don't. I mean, that's just an opinion. But personally, with the things they're doing, I not super comfortable with the path that they have taken. Everything that they had led me to believe, and they were not doing it. I was under the impression at some point they were going to meet up with compliance and create a scholarship program for revenue sharing for the NIL kids. That never happened. So like they made sure they got signatures at Perfect Game National in June of last year, but there's certainly no plan to pay these kids.
That's what it sounds like. And like you said, I mean, these are top 2024 class talents, college and high school, that are signing things for a perfect game without
They
getting
signed
a
20,000.
cent.
They signed 20,000 stickers in June in Arizona, and Perfect Game is just sitting on them.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're waiting for someone to buy those stickers. sooner or later.
Hey, I technically own part of those stickers. I'd love to get paid for that too. But, I'd love for the kids to get paid first and figure out like some legal on the level way for Perfect Game to go make everyone whole. But that's not on their agenda right now until I make it on their agenda. So we'll see.
Yeah. So what you've been doing since our first interview, you've created a TikTok account that has several thousand followers, several videos that have, thousands or even tens of thousands of views. You've done Twitter spaces and talked to different people, and now you have Lawyered Up. You said that to me personally, that you don't like doing the TikTok. It was for just getting the word out. And now,
Yeah, I don't like being on camera anymore. I'm not an agent anymore, and like even when I do comedy, I like writing a lot
mm,
more than performing because I don't like audiences at
yeah,
all. Like I do my own thing, and it turns out I generate an audience. I can't control it, so I don't really worry about it. But I do try to avoid them, even though I create crowds. So yeah, but
yeah,
no,
you,
I mean the TikTok thing. Last couple weeks, I've hated it less because the topics kind of shifted from me ranting to kind of covering some prospect stuff and current events. So it wasn't
yeah,
all just setting things on fire, but it was
definitely.
weird the response. In like 2 months, I got up to like 8,500. I'm trying to get over 10,000 to monetize it, and then
I
see
can
what
understand
that's
that.
like.
Yeah, if
But
anything comes from this, they can monetize your TikTok account. But I,
yeah, I can get monetized at 10,000. So I mean, I had a couple of videos. Like, I think I have like 3 videos over 100,000 in like 2 months, but like it means nothing. It doesn't make any money, but I guess
no, yeah,
it's good for
unfortunately.
exposure. I looked at the analytics today. Like 1 million people have seen my videos in 2 months. Like that's fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, you, like I said in the very beginning, you are not afraid to say what you think about anything to anyone. I mean, I saw your post earlier today to Gary Sheffield Jr., and I'm sure you
You
have
should
it.
quote me on what I said to him. That'd be funny.
I can't pull that up right now. Yeah, I can't read that. I would get, if I was
You should.
even monetized, I would get demonetized for what you said.
I tagged him a bunch of times. He didn't respond to me.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's
But
really fun. During the COVID years, like 2020, somebody that knew Carlos Aswai talking to him about working with me with a video game company. And I
mm-hmm,
just remember those conversations being so annoying. Like, why do I want this person? I have Twitter, like, celebrity endorsed, and I said no to that guy. The fuck does he do? Like, he just goes and takes the worst sports takes and, like, loves telling people his name is Gary Sheffield Jr. when
mm-hmm,
Gary doesn't even love him. Gary's like in
yeah.
all of his brother's events at Perfect Game because that's the one who plays baseball, not the media influencer.
So I do have to make this PG-13 for podcast, but I
You're
will quote
making that
you.
quote PG-13. You probably shouldn't read it. You probably just tag it. Like you cannot clean up my roast joke. I know what I said.
What the? Okay, we'll just say it as it is. What the fuck do you think, or what do you do
Oh,
except
you're actually reading.
cosplay as a BB person, son of a former player who was named in the Mitchell Report and not in the Hall of Fame? Bro, do you also get announced as Gary Sheffield's former come too?
Why?
Like, what do you do beyond posting your Breitbart comment sections?
I really liked
Post
the
to X,
responses a lot to that. It was pretty funny.
quote,
I hope so. I
risk
hope
free,
someone
unquote.
in Gary's crew sees it. I hope they get mad at me. But that's the thing. He doesn't seem that stupid. Like him, Rachel Luba. Like no one is that stupid to respond to me. That's just going to give me more oxygen. Nobody wants that. The smartest thing anyone on the internet can do is ignore me.
Probably. And to those listening or watching, I'll have to say, Joshua is entirely right. If you don't want anything bad said to you or about you, just ignore them.
But it's not always bad. I don't like trying to like, bro. It's just like I just, like, I had a guy DM me today. He's like, I didn't like what you sold me. Not impressed. And I'm like, you're banned. Fuck you. Like, I don't, like, why would you
See,
tell me that? If
just
there was a
ignore
pro,
him.
if there, no, I would never ignore. If somebody's like, yo, I have a problem, I'll be like, all right, tell me the problem. Let's fix it.
Oh
But when
yeah,
you come up
yeah.
to me and tell me, like, I'm not impressed by you, I'm like, all right, word. We don't need to talk then.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, he is telling you the truth. If you're willing to work with him, he will make things right and or
Every
easier on
single
you
time.
every time. So
And
PG
like I have a guy who's been on the page
per
for years
game,
today.
if you're listening, just
That's
work with
funny.
Joshua. I
If they
swear to
want to,
God,
they've talked to my.
just give him a call. He will make
If
it
any of the
easier.
6 owners ever feel like telling their legal department that I exist before they get the case prepped and sent to them, they're free to call my attorney to go work this out beforehand. But they're not going to. These guys have gotten away with it for so long. So I mean, they're daring me to make a spectacle out of it. So I will,
I can't
and that's
stop him,
life.
folks. I can't stop the man, folks. I mean, he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Well, the funny part is, I'd like to point this out, and I hope we can
Yes.
clip this part, is
Okay.
that I have said some potentially very inflammatory things about Perfect Game, the #1 high school organization like for travel ball in the country. That is like
Mm-hmm.
super inflammatory to accuse them of ripping off kids, having the owner offer me drugs, or having the owner like try to get me to go to a swingers club. Like these are really inflammatory things.
Wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
no one from their legal department at all has sent me a cease and desist to take anything down or threaten to sue me. It's freaking crazy to me that
That
no
is
lawyer
insane.
from
Wow.
Perfect Game has said stop talking.
Yeah. So obviously, you're only saying things,
It's a good
and
place to end.
you have always said things
That's a good
that are
place to
true.
end, I swear.
Okay. We'll talk about that here in a second. Uh,
I hope that last clip helps you.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for coming on the show again. All baseball talk, all the
Absolutely,
time.
man. Hit me up online and let me know. Let me know when the clips are up.
Yeah, I will definitely. You will be the first one to know.
Awesome, man. Later.
Okay, bye.